Welcome to this fabulous Saturday of Ministravaganza 2025. My name is Will Schick. I am the creative no, that's my old title. My actual title nowadays, as it's listed on the screen, is the VP of Creative Development and Strategy for Atomic Mass Games. I'm so glad that you could join us today. If you're unaware of what's going to be happening, we have three different segments for Ministravaganza today, each one covering one of our game lines. So we're going to start off with a little opening ceremonies. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ministravaganza, what to expect for the rest of the programming. And then we're going to dive right into Star Wars Shatterpoint. We're going to follow that up with a little bit of a break, and then we're going to dive into Marvel Crisis Protocol. And then we're going to wrap things up after a short break following the Marvel Crisis Protocol thing with the Star Wars Legion roadmap, and of course a little bit of an outro. We're going to thank you all for coming and spending the day with us as we look at all the cool things to come. So for those who have joined us in the past for Ministravaganza, you might be wondering why one day. So Ministravaganza was kind of born in the height of the pandemic in 2020. So we're celebrating the 5th anniversary, effectively, of Ministravaganza. And at the time, we were a small studio. We were just getting started with Marvel Crisis Protocol. We were looking forward to going to Gen Con for the first year following the game's release. And all of a sudden, a global pandemic kicked in, and Gen Con was no more. It was canceled, just like every other in-person event. And this left us with a lot of questions as everyone, of course, grappled with what to do and what this meant for us. We were stuck inside. We couldn't go congregate with our friends as much as we used to, depending on our area and what was going on, all of these different things. And so as we talked about this internally through a Zoom meeting call that we were trying to struggle through and figure out how to do the teleconferencing thing, we came up with an idea. We had already started streaming early in the studio days, just to kind of like put ourselves out there, show the game off, do some fun hobby stuff, connect with the community. And we thought, what if we just tried to replicate the entire convention experience, but online? What if we did a full event of 3 days of streaming that was filled with all of the content that you normally would see if you had gone to Gen Con or gone to one of these shows? Could we do that? And we decided that let's give it a try, because what's the worst that could happen? And from there, Ministravaganza was born. We had a wonderful 3-day event. We saw lots of people come and join us. We did all of the classic things you would expect. We did panels with dev talks. We did hobby content. We did roadmaps. We did all this different stuff. And we struggled through. There were a couple hiccups along the way, but it went great. And players and the community really seemed to rally around it. It was a great way to kind of connect. We even had an after-hours hangout that happened. Fast forward to now, and Ministravaganza has been a thing that's happened multiple times per year. But of course, the world has changed. We're kind of back to where we are, where we're going back to full shows. We're at AdeptCon, we're at Gen Con, we're going to be at PAX Unplugged, some of us, next week, including our marketing director, Ross Thompson. And as we looked at these things and we said, okay, what can we do to better affect the time that we have available to us? Because, well, we are a decently sized team these days with 3 different game lines and everything. We got a lot to do, and there's more that we would like to accomplish than we have the time to do it. We said, why don't we look at Ministravaganza, what it is, and how we can kind of streamline, lean, and mean it up and make sure that it is hitting all of the beats that we want, in addition to allowing us the chance to do what we want to do overall in terms of community connection, talking with you all, letting you all know what's going on. And you'll notice, if you've been hanging out with us, that over the course of this year, we've really amped up and stepped up our game in terms of connecting with community podcasts and other different events, AMAs, those types of things. And we've really enjoyed what that has brought in terms of a dynamic and connected conversation with the community, being able to kind of address things more organically and just stay in touch more. And so we've pivoted a little bit to that, and we thought, well, why don't we maximize what we want to do with Ministrav, show off all the cool stuff. This is a really important second step in our roadmaps, for those who know. We do 2 of these per year. We do 1 at Adepticon, and we have our Ministravaganza one as well. So with all of that going on, we've got a whole slew of interviews with various community podcasts for all the different games going scheduled next week. That's going to be where we're really going to dive in and do some of the philosophical dev discussions, where we're going to talk more specifically about our thought process with various members of the team. Things that we would have normally done consolidated into a single panel in Ministrav, we're going to be able to spread across all of the different media outlets that cover these fantastic games next week. With that, what we're really going to focus on here is we're going to talk about all of the neat things that are coming in the roadmaps. We also have a lot of cool game content that's going to be dropped on you for each of the different games today. We're going to talk a bit about that as well. So regardless of which game you're here for, if you're here for one or multiples, hopefully you walk away with a lot of cool visions of the future, and also you're going to walk away today at some point as those articles and those documents get posted as we conclude Ministravaganza with a lot of neat game content that you're going to be able to go out and immediately start playing with as well. And you're also going to see some pretty cool videos that our team, Tony, who is behind the board running everything today, and our creative director, Dallas, have been putting together. If you've missing the hobby stuff that used to happen in Ministrav, you should be sure to check out various streams. I know Dallas was just on with Monument Hobbies last night doing some painting and talking about the techniques and all of that other good stuff. And he's also been working on an entire mountain of hobby content, both articles and others. If you haven't seen them, Tony and Dallas put together an entire slew of videos for getting started with the Legion hobby that went on our website as well. So we're finding new and different ways to kind of evolve what we do, make sure that we're always staying in touch with the community and offering all of the great content in the best way that we can for the games going forward. And with that, I think, all of us here are ready to get started and to dive in to Star Wars Shatterpoint as our first Ministravaganza 2025 roadmap. So with Star Wars Shatterpoint, the first things we're going to be looking at are the new releases coming out next year, so early next year, and those we previewed at Adepticon earlier in the year, and those are all based off of the Ahsoka Plus Disney show. We have 2 packs that are coming out. We're pretty excited about them, and we're going to be showing off the rules for some of those units today. I think Tony's going to hit the button at some point here. There we go. Thanks, Tony. Just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's all right. This is live. This is how it works. This is the fun of Ministrav. So Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are the primary and the secondary characters from the Secure the Future Squad pack. We had a lot of fun internally working on these characters and really trying to dive into the on-screen personalities that we see from them. Baylan Skoll was one that I jumped into with a gusto and made the original design for. My real thought was, how do we represent his kind of patient and wait-and-see attitude, right? He's not a man who goes out and does things impulsively. We see a very prepared, a very composed kind of former Jedi. And bringing back the hunker mechanic, which we had kind of explored with Obi-Wan, seemed like a really great way to do that. So he has a lot of fun ways to utilize those tokens with a new mechanic that is similar to what we've seen from Obi-Wan, a Jedi General, but is different and I think really fits what we see on screen with him. He really incentivizes you to wisely build up, your resources to plan your moment and then unleash a devastating strike. On the flip side, his apprentice, as we see in the show, and ideally on the tabletop here, is the exact kind of opposite of her master. She's very eager, she's reckless, she's aggressive, she doesn't want to wait. Impatience really drives the narrative for her. And you can, when we were playing, some of the fun stuff was really just seeing Baylan Skoll kind of like deeply sighing as he's like, do it this way, and she just doesn't listen, right? That classic master and apprentice dynamic. So we're really excited to see these. Of course, they come with the supporting HK droids. We'll be showing those off at a future moment. But hopefully you all are just as excited as we are to see these 2 really cool characters from that series land onto the Star Wars Shatterpoint tabletops. Accompanying them is another set of kind of villains from the show, and that is Morgan Elsbeth along with Captain Enoch and the Night Troopers. Most exciting, I think, is that Morgan Elsbeth returns us to a Nightsister primary for Shatterpoint. So if you're a big fan of Mother Talzin and the Nightsisters, you can now kind of use the flexibility and the squad building and strike team dynamics of Shatterpoint to be able to start to really flesh out that keyword, even though canonically, they kind of exist after each other. But the fun of Shatterpoint is really doing that exploration and moving around. Enoch as a secondary character was one where, I think we all know that he is probably a very capable warrior, but what we see in the show is him kind of filling that XO role for Thrawn. He's very much a quartermaster, kind of administrator, and so we really wanted to play into the idea that he is a support character in this version of him. And then we come to the Night Troopers, which obviously the Night Troopers were the biggest challenge, I think, out of the entire squad. And that was really the fact that you had to come up with a way to create the zombie feel of the Night Troopers, the recursion mechanics of the Night Troopers within the game itself. And ultimately, I think where we kind of wound up with the team, great work from Michael Plummer and William Rutan, as well as our fantastic playtesters who iterated and iterated and iterated on these concepts, was using that undying loyalty and the animated Beyond Death to really provide this intriguing recursion mechanic where, as a player, you can be very reckless with them. As an opponent to them, you have to kind of think about how you're going to approach removing them or trying to wound them from the table. They do die, similar to like what we've seen in the past with Maul. Their aggressiveness or their willingness to like burn through their wounds can see them removed from the table faster than some other units, but because of the way their mechanics work, when other troopers are removed, they can kind of resuscitate and add to their ranks in that classic zombie feel. So just a really fun blast for a unit. A lot of really interesting different combinations with how the Night Trooper versus Nightsister tags work on Morgan, and ideally, a fun new little segment of the Star Wars galaxy for players to be able to explore and dive into. Along with these new squad packs, we also have a brand new mission pack that's going to be coming out. We want to give you a little preview of that. So Strategic Positions Mission Card Pack will be offering new tactical advantages on the cards for players to try to make the most of. And this new mission brings, of course, a new map, new layouts, a double primary objective mechanic, a lot of different things that'll challenge players in some fun ways, and add some new options and strategies for different squads, strike team compositions, and play as well. So this will be coming out as well next year. In addition to the new mission pack that we're showing off here, we also have, as I mentioned in the opening, a bunch of new game content that's going to be made available later today as it goes up on our website that you can start playing with right away. Specifically for Shatterpoint, we have the dramatic entrance of the Galactic Legends game mode, which you all, or many of you in the community, I can't say all of you, I don't know who's watching out there, I don't have access to the Twitch stream, but many folks within the community helped us beta test, both on the website when we first launched it and did some beta testing and play testing as well at the AdeptCon event, which happened earlier in the year. The initial packet for the rules and the first 4 characters along with the first 2 scenarios is going to be made available today in its finalized glory. This is an awesome 2v1 mode where one player gets to play the Galactic Legends and 2 other players challenge them with their squads to try to win in the scenarios. You can mix and match the different Galactic Legends and scenarios, which means there's a lot of customization and opportunities. We really can't wait to see players be able to fully dive into this new game mode, to see how all of the help and the work through the different testing that we did publicly has come together to create a brand new way to experience Star Wars Shatterpoint. Additionally, we're not done with Galactic Legends. For those who did the playtesting at AdeptCon, you might know that Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and Darth Vader are going to be the 2 next Galactic Legends. They're going to come along with a new scenario, and that packet is going to be released again for free starting early next year. So you can get used to the 4 Galactic Legends you have now, but new challengers will be approaching soon. And we're excited to really continue to build on this. It brings a new level of experience to the narrative Star Wars Shatterpoint. It lets players who want to see those iconic primary characters done in a way that really emphasizes their true movie potential, where they're just mowing down everything in their path and they seem unstoppable. To be able to play, and of course, as the players playing against them, you have to really think like a character in Star Wars who's facing a Darth Vader or an Asajj Ventress. How do we stop this? How do we stop this character and still come out of it alive? It can be a very difficult thing. Key Operations is another game mode that we dropped last year. Has been really fun. This is the asymmetric mission system for Star Wars Shatterpoint. It's been really neat to see how players have adopted to that, to be able to tell unique and kind of tied in thematic narrative stories through the mission system and the asymmetric system that Key Operations allowed. We did release a campaign rule set for tying your Key Operations games together to be able to tell a more dramatic like campaign narrative as you kind of work through things. But our developers, William Rutan and Michael Plummer, were not done because they're so enamored with that system and the campaign stuff. They came up with an idea to do special advantage cards that you can use in your Key Operations games, whether as part of the campaign or part of an individual thing. And so those campaign advantage cards, those Key Operation advantage cards, will be coming out today as well as a new print and play document that you can add to your games. These are all going to be available again near the conclusion of Ministravaganza, you'll see articles as well going up that kind of explain the thought processes, how to play. If you've never heard of Galactic Legends before because you're new to the game, welcome. Watch for that article. It's going to explain everything you need to know to be able to dive in and try out this new and exciting game mode with your friends. And of course, there's also going to be information on key operations and the new campaign advantages as well. So those are the things that you might have known are coming. Let's talk a little bit about the future and what's coming next. So one of the most exciting things from a game creation and a development standpoint is the fact that Shatterpoint is small skirmish, and we're allowed to kind of bounce around. It's highly customizable. You can take who you want with who you want within the construction system. And that's allowed us to be able to explore things like the Clone Wars era, the Rise of the Republic, or Rise of the Empire, Galactic Civil War, and now the New Republic, more recently with the Mandalorians and the Ahsoka Disney Plus show. We knew that starting next year, with these releases, that it was probably our first order of business had to be to find where we're going next. What is going to be the next era or the next corner of the Star Wars galaxy that we're going to be exploring? And so it's with a lot of excitement internally and hopefully with you all out there that I get to reveal for our studio and all of the hard work that's gone into it is that we will be visiting the sequel trilogy next with the Rise of the First Order era. The initial wave for this era will feature 4 squad packs, each one kind of focusing on some of the iconic characters and moments from the sequel trilogy. Our first one, of course, that we have here is the Alone with Friends squad pack. This features characters as we see them from Episode 7 of Force Awakens with Finn, Rey, and Han and Chewie. And they're going to be paired with a pack that kind of emphasizes characters that we see in Episode 8 and 9, which is Poe Dameron, Zori Bliss, and some Resistance squad troopers. And so these two together kind of let you play a fully realized sequel trilogy strike team. And against them, as you might expect, is going to be the might of the First Order. The one we have to show here is On My Command, which includes Captain Phasma, some First Order Stormtroopers, and a First Order Flame Trooper. Not pictured because he wasn't quite ready for his photo opportunity. Of course, Kylo Ren will also be coming with some more First Order characters, including FN 2199 of Traitor fame. And so all of these will come together to create kind of the first wave of our entrance into the sequel trilogy. And exploring this cool, different era of Star Wars with these characters as well. All right. As exciting as it is to be able to go into this new era, we have plenty more plans to return to the other eras as well, and many more different game modes and opportunities to come out. For the moment, we are still considering and discussing what's going to be coming next internally. There's a lot of different discussions on that. We can't tell you enough how much the Shatterpoint community's passion and love of the game means to us. It drives everyone on the team. And with so many wonderful, great characters and eras, the hardest part internally whenever we talk about this game is deciding where in the world we're going to go next. The only thing that I can really tell you is that I am assured that the negotiations will be short. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to chatting to you soon about more Star Wars Shatterpoint.